Hi again, everybody. My name is Greg Anderson, and this is the Good Timekeeping Show with Greg Anderson. And today, I want to talk about this Rangeman watch right here. I got the newest Rangeman, and I'm not a big fan of unboxing videos, so let's just do it this way. Okay, you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hey, there we go. That's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah, this Rangeman. This is the GW-9400YJ-1JF. Okay, it has a few distinctions, but not that many compared to the other Rangeman that I bought previously right here. Let's take a look. So I bought this one sometime in the year 2018. So here we are more than 4 years later and still looking good. When I got looking into the Rangeman line, of course, I saw there were a lot of different variations released over the years. The very first one was released sometime in the year 2013. So we're going on almost 10 years worth of Rangeman, and look at what Casio has done. A simple look at shockbase.org shows me that there have been 31 flavors, if you will, of Rangeman watches. Some of them still available with the premium price because, again, they're kind of special editions here. But they all have the same functions and features generally, except for the material and the colors might be a little bit different. But they all do the same thing. Module 3410. And as you kind of scroll along here at the shockbase.org website, you can see all those different colors. Some in the negative display, some in the positive display, some just different, maybe a little bit of a tint on the display, and just a wide variety there. But you're going to spend a lot of money if you tried to get all of these. So look at this one here. Love the Sea and the Earth. This Rangeman came out February of 2019, so about 4 years ago as I'm making this. This one was just released, just a few months ago, November of 2022, the Love the Sea and the Earth Rangeman. This is a kind of a polar bear theme edition of the Rangeman. Here's some of the, some of the official pictures of this. You can see that nice, a little bit off-white, kind of like a polar bear, and the blue, kind of like, the oceans where the polar bears hang around. And if you look inside of the watch band, there's it's kind of a carbon fiber insert there with keeping on that blue theme. But here's the bottom line if you really want one of these. I looked it up on eBay, and as you can see, prices starting around $550 and going up from there. And looks like this was probably an exclusive Japanese release. So if you want to hop on eBay or find some other sellers that'll give you that Japanese connection, you can pay these kind of prices and you can have one of these watches. It's up to you. It's a little too pricey for me. Here's one. It was an emergency fire response team tribute. This is from July 2020. And you see some unique colors there. But you're going to pay a premium for any of these if that's what you want. See, here's one that's used. And this guy wants to start the auction at $600 for a used one. I found one on Amazon. Looked over there, and it looks like this one's brand new, $960 plus change for that guy right there. So do you want to pay that kind of money? When honestly, if you look at just the plain Jane version, the regular kind that I have, it's only about $210 if you shop carefully. Somewhere between $210 and $220 if you just want that guy. Here I got a little bit excited. I saw one on eBay, $99 and change. For this one, Burton model, some sort of special collaboration there. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Then when I got looking closer at it, they want $99 and change just for the bezel. So yeah, don't get too excited if you see a really great deal on one of these special Rangeman watches. It might just be a part of that Rangeman watch. So back to today. I decided to get this one. So this is a brand new release from just earlier this year. And here's the thing. They sell, you can still get this one, again, for just a little bit more than $200. If you want this with the same yellow accents that you see here, with just a regular resin band like this, it'll cost you $330. You can get that from the official Casio website or from some Casio dealers, even right here in the United States. It's not a special international order to get this one with the yellow accents. But if you wanted to have this special watch band, the two-tone watch band with the yellow on the inside, and this is also a carbon fiber insert here on this, that's going to cost you even more. This one is the Japanese only release. So when I first saw it like this, I didn't realize, I was just going to get the one that's readily available in America $330 seemed like a lot of money just for some different colors, whereas, you know, that's over $100 more just for the color change. But when I saw this on the Japanese version, I decided, I don't know. If I got this without this carbon fiber watch band, I might, after a little while, decide, oh, the carbon fiber thing, that looks interesting, and I would maybe regret that, right? So I had to think hard about it and eventually decided I'll just get this. So this one cost me just over $400. I went to the Japanese market for this one, found some folks on eBay that had different listings, and I picked one that looked like a good deal and a reputable seller. And that's where I got this, and it just arrived. So you can see it's still set to Tokyo time. But right here, I haven't even taken there's a little plastic protection here on this keeper. So that's kind of a painted black. And then again, there's kind of a carbon fiber two-tone thing going on here with the watch band. And other than that, other than the colors, it's the same watch. Why would I spend so much money? Let me just briefly explain what I decided to do. You see, there's a version of this watch, this Rangeman, it's a Japanese release, and it looks all the same with just a black band on it, but there's one with a carbon fiber insert on the black band. You get that from Japan, and that one will cost you a little bit of a premium because of that carbon fiber thing, but otherwise it looks just the same. So you can get that one, and I decided to look into it. Like, well, what's the difference in the price? What are they charging different just for the watch band compared to this version? And the markup for the carbon fiber watch band version of this watch with these colors is, are you ready? That one will cost you about $325 almost. Okay, so you're looking at a $100 markup just for that carbon fiber watch band. So I cross-referenced that. I said, what if you wanted to go to packparts.com and you look up the Japanese one here and you say, well, what if I get the Japanese watch here, and will Pack Parts sell me just the carbon fiber band on that? And yeah, they do have one listed. It says it's not in stock, but if you order it, they'll send it to you in a few weeks. And in my experience, they have done that. And so just to get that by itself, about $125 just for that band. So that's about in line with you can buy this guy and later get the Japanese carbon fiber band for, you know, about $120 more, or you can get it with the band already on it for about $100 more. So, you know, there you go. I looked up these guys here just to be thorough. These are the carbon fiber versions of your G-Shock Square with multiband 6 and solar on there. And if you want to buy this replacement watch band here with carbon fiber in it, according to the Pack Parts website, they're going to want $151.83 just for that band with the carbon fiber on there. Even though right there it says it's resin band, but it really is carbon fiber. And if you look at the close-up picture that they show of it, it is the one with carbon fiber with all that writing on it that looks like, yes, it is carbon fiber. So yeah, when I got thinking about those, took me back to this. If I bought this without the carbon fiber band, it'd be $330. And for about $80 more, I could get this Japanese version with the carbon fiber band. So judging from the prices on replacement bands with carbon fiber, it seemed like a reasonably good deal, even though paying just over $400 for one watch is not something I typically like to do. But this one was just so attractive. And once I saw the pictures of it like this, I really didn't have a lot of desire to consider the one without this special watch band. It just, I don't know, it just had a real good appeal. It just looks so sharp and nice. So, all right, that's all my background. Let me just go through here. So this one, I just took it out of the box. Obviously, I haven't even pressed any of the buttons yet on this. Still set to Tokyo time. Comes with this little tag on it. A lot of this stuff written in Japanese, but there you can see 55,000 yen. And if I ask Siri really quick to convert 55,000 yen to dollars for me, right there, it's telling me that's $411.88. So that's about in line with what I paid for this watch when I bought it from that Japanese source, and it was converted to US dollars through eBay. So, All right, that's the price you want to pay right now if you really want that. Now, there was one other thing I decided to look into before I made all these purchases. And my wife was on board with this when we were both thinking about the same things. We were thinking, what if you got the one, the American version without the carbon fiber, and if you wanted to buy the carbon fiber brace or band, all by itself, what would that cost? Why don't you look it up at Pack Parts? And what I found was, yes, Pack Parts does list this watch, and also the one that is not the exclusive Japanese release. They're both listed there, but right now, if you look them up, Pack Parts does not show that they have any replacement parts for those watches right now. It may be because it's so new that they don't offer anything yet, or it may be that maybe they never will. There are some times when you look at limited edition watches or some of their special releases, when you look up parts, some of the parts, when they list them at Pack Parts, they say, yes, the part it exists, but basically you need to be a factory authorized service center in order to get the part. So they're not going to sell it to a guy like me, because obviously I'm not a factory authorized service center. So that's where all the thinking came into. Let's just buy it this way. All right. So back to this one. Okay. You got all that stuff written in Japanese there. It says it's multiband 6. You got that on the tag there. And then back here, all these little icons to tell you exactly what this watch has in it and what it'll do. Let's just go down the icons here. G, I think, means G-Shock, 20 bar water resistant, the full auto super LED backlight. That shows it's a compass, altimeter. Also, I think this means that it'll show you the sunrise and sunset times. There you got a thermometer. You got that little circle on the face that has multiple functions, multiband 6. That one with the airplane on it, I'm not sure what that means. Here, I believe this refers to the solar power. It's got a timestamp memory function, a 1,000-hour stopwatch, a 24-hour countdown timer, 5 alarms. One of them is a snooze alarm. That must refer to it shows you the state of the battery. I don't know, or maybe that has something to do with rechargeable battery. The full auto backlight, 12 or 24-hour mode, and you can mute. So all those things listed there as the functions and features of the watch. All right, let's look at it again. And once again, this is from the perspective of I haven't pressed any button or set anything up yet. What I'm looking at is it's set to the local time in Tokyo right now. So I need to change that and go through some of the other settings. So why don't I do that? I'll press and hold the adjust button right now until things start to blink right there. And now I choose my city. Indeed, it was set for Tokyo. So if I use the button down here on the right side, it's as though I'm going eastward on the map. So I'm going to take this all the way to the United States. I'm in the Denver time zone, or the mountain time zone of the United States. The way it is on this watch, each time zone is named after a major city in that time zone. So that would be the correct setting for where I am right now. However, if I keep going, you see I could go to Chicago, or I could use this reverse button up here to go back. So eastward on the map down here, westward on the map here until I get to where I need to be. Denver time zone. Okay, this is actually not right because we just recently changed to daylight saving time. So, I'll have to make that adjustment. But if I push the mode button now, it takes me to the next thing that I can do. This is where if I want it, see it's DST there. If I want it to automatically change for daylight saving time, I would leave it on this setting. If I want it to only show regular standard time, I leave the daylight saving time setting off. If I want it to always show daylight saving time, I can leave that to on. But I'm going to put it on auto just because usually automatic is fine where we are. The reason it doesn't show the correct time here is that the last time it was able to set itself probably was when it was in Tokyo. So they didn't have daylight saving time going on there. So it didn't get that little signal that said time to change to daylight saving time display. So the next time it is able to set itself with the multiband 6 reception right here at my house, it will update that. So I can leave it as is right now. Okay, here I can choose the 12-hour or 24-hour display. And here I can manually set the time. So seconds, hours, I can go ahead and advance that to what it doesn't really matter what I set that to because it's going to update itself to the correct time anyway. But in this case, it is the correct time. So the time, the date, the year and the date and all that stuff. Here is where I've got a little beep every time I press a button. It's going to beep, or I could mute that right there. And then it's only going to make sounds now at the end of a countdown timer or when one of the alarms goes off, or maybe the hourly signal. Otherwise, if I leave that on key there, then it's going to beep every time I change modes, and a lot of things that I do, start and stop a stopwatch, it's going to beep every time. So I can leave it that way if I want to, or if I want to be discreet later on, I can set that to mute. My next mode here in my setups, the backlight. The backlight can go on for either 1.5 seconds or 3 seconds, depending on what you choose there. I'll leave it on the 3-second duration. A lot of people like to put it on a short duration because then it doesn't drain the battery as much if you use the backlight a lot. But since this is solar powered, I don't have to worry about draining the battery. I can easily charge that up. I'll leave it on the long duration. And here's the power save mode. Power save mode is enabled right now. So what this means is at night, when this watch is in the dark and nobody's wearing it, it's not moving around, if it sits still in the dark for about an hour, starting around 10 o'clock at night, it will go into a power save sleep mode. So all the display will just go blank, and that'll save a little bit of the battery life with a blank display. And when it's in that sleep mode, the only thing you need to do is press any button that'll bring the display back, or put it in a well-lit area that will bring the display back from its sleep state, or if you kind of shake it around because there's a little motion sensor inside. So you can do all that. Or if I never want the display to go blank for power saving, this is where I would just turn off the power save mode. But I'll leave it on, it's fine. And now here is where you can choose units. Right now, it's set to show me the temperature in Celsius if I were to use the temperature sensor, but I'm going to go ahead and switch that one. Let's see. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, okay, right now I'm setting feet, but if I go up here, yeah, this button up here is the temperature, okay? And this button down here, the forward button, is for meters or feet. And then here, hectopascals or inches of mercury. Let's see, which button affects that? It's not the light button. Is it that button? It is. It's the sensor button for changing that. So, you can individually set each of those to either, the metric system or kind of the, I guess you'd say the English system that we use here in America. I'm going to set them all to, what I'm used to here, Fahrenheit, feet, and inches of mercury for when I use that triple sensor and when it's showing me those readings. Okay, then next, if I press mode, it takes me back to the beginning here to set the city. But there's one other thing I need to do right here. If I tap this adjust button right now, it's asking me for latitude, and it'll ask me for longitude as well. You see, this watch has the ability to show you sunrise and sunset times for any day of the year, starting with the current day. And that can vary depending on your exact location within your time zone. I just set this to the Denver time zone, so it's showing me the latitude, longitude readings for Denver, and I want to change those to, say, Salt Lake City, because I'm closer to Salt Lake City. So what I do here is I'll just use the forward button, and I'll increase this. I think this is right, 40.9, and then if I push mode, my longitude needs to go back. See, this is actually kind of, a western here. I think this needs to be 111.8 for Salt Lake City. I think that's that way. So now that's set. Now I can go back to just there where nothing's blinking. And now it should show me the correct sunrise and sunset times. Now, if I went back in here and changed to a different time zone and then brought it back to the Denver time zone, I think it would reset that latitude and longitude that I entered back to the Denver position. So I'd have to re-enter the figures there to make that right for, Salt Lake City-ish where I am now. So something to keep in mind. But now it's all set. This is the correct time. And what'll happen now as far as timekeeping goes is that starting at midnight tonight, it's going to try to set itself or at least check itself to make sure it's still set to the right time. This function, multiband 6, means that there's a radio receiver built into the watch, and it will automatically start receiving, starting at midnight. It'll try for just a few minutes to receive atomic time information from one of 6 transmitters in different parts of the world. For me, it's WWVB, which comes right out of Colorado. So I have pretty good reception where I am. I'm only about 350 miles away from the actual radio transmitter tower in Fort Collins. So starting at midnight, it'll try to set itself. If it's not successful within a few minutes, it will stop and try again an hour later. And if that's not successful, it'll try the next hour. It'll keep doing that up to 6 times a night. As soon as it is successful, it will stop trying to receive until the next night at midnight. So that's kind of nice. Those transmitters are, well, there's 6 of them. So one is in China. There are 2 in Japan. This one in North America, WWVB out of Colorado. That's the 4th one on my list. Then there's one in the UK and also one in Germany. So those are the 6 of them. If you are not within range of those transmitters, or if for some reason there's just too much radio interference where you are and multiband 6 isn't going to work right for you, then you can either deactivate multiband 6 on this watch and, just save some battery power that way, or, you leave it on. It's just not going to affect anything. And the watch will still run off its own internal quartz accuracy, and it will be accurate to within 15 seconds a month, I believe, is the figure they have on that. So you're going to get great accuracy either way, tremendous accuracy if it's consistently able to set itself using multiband 6. Then I mentioned there's a solar cell built into the face of the watch. And that means every time this watch is exposed to just everyday lighting conditions where you live and work, it's going to keep charging itself, so that in theory, you won't have to change a battery until the capacitor or whatever battery's in there right now wears out, which could be well over a decade before you'd have to worry about batteries at all, because it's always going to be charging itself. Right here in the middle of the display, L, M, and H shows you the battery state. So low, medium, high. Right now it's set, it's high. So it's a well-charged battery. And again, with just everyday use in normal lighting, it should stay at a high charge indefinitely. So that's great. Here, this little circular eye thing here on the display. This does a few different things depending on the different functions that you've chosen. But right now you can see that it's got 60 little segments there. And one segment is either appearing or disappearing every second in this regular timekeeping mode, and gives you a little bit of, a reinforcement of the seconds display down here, just with this thing, as though it's a second hand going around an analog clock face to, just to show you that. All right, so if I'm in this mode here, this is my regular timekeeping mode, and I push this button down here for the next mode. This is my world time mode, and I can choose up to, I think there's over 40 cities there, so you can choose the time zone from some other city by scrolling through using this forward button as though you're going eastward on the map, or you can go the other direction with the reverse button. I'll leave it in UTC for the moment and pretend that I'm a pilot and I need my UTC, Zulu time sometimes when I'm out there flying. Okay, and again, that's going to be your local time there, and your world time here when you're in this mode. It's going to show either as a 12-hour or 24-hour display, depending on how you've set the watch up from your main settings. Next mode is your stopwatch mode. And again, this is a 1,000-hour stopwatch. And so if you don't reset it, it goes for a full 1,000 hours, which is more than 41 days. And then it'll reset to 0 and just keep on going unless you stop it. So you can stop it there, reset it up there. There's also a split time using these 2 buttons here. It's very familiar to those of you who've ever used stopwatches on your digital watches, these 2 buttons. Now, one other thing I should show you about that stopwatch, though. Let's go back here to the main timekeeping mode, right? Okay, so there you are, regular timekeeping. If I were to push this forward button right now, in one push, it's going to take me to the stopwatch mode and start the stopwatch. So that's kind of neat. And you see this is behaving a little bit differently while I'm doing that. Also, if I wanted to quickly go back to the main timekeeping mode without scrolling through all the other modes, I can hold the mode button for just a couple of seconds, and then it'll do that. And if your display up here, this little kind of, round display is doing something like this, this is an indication that your stopwatch is running right now. So, or that at least it hasn't even been reset to 0. I can go straight back to the stopwatch there, straight back here to there. So anyway, a quick way to access the stopwatch. Now, the next mode after the stopwatch is your countdown timer. This can be set anywhere up to 24 hours. If I push that there, okay, I can set my hours and minutes there. So anywhere from 1 minute up to a full 24 hours in full minute settings. If it's set to all zeros, that will be a true 24-hour countdown timer. If I were to start it right now, then it would be just 10-minute countdown right there. I'll stop it right now and I'll reset it with this button marked reverse. My next mode is my alarm mode. And right now, nothing has been set yet, but there are 5 alarms. And the 5th one is a snooze alarm. So if I were to set that and turn that on, then it would beep for about 10 seconds. And then it would try again about 5 minutes later. And then about 5 minutes after that, it would keep going for up to half an hour after the initial setting there. The other ones just go 1 time a day if they're set to be active. Also in this mode, this is where I've got my hourly signal. I can turn on or off using this reverse button up here. So, and when it's on, you see the SIG is an indication right there. Whereas with these alarms, if I were to turn on alarm number 1, then it would show me, hey, there's an alarm set. Turn that off. If I turn on alarm number 5, it will show me there's an alarm set. At least one alarm is set, and it's and the snooze alarm is also set. So that's what all those little indications along the bottom of the screen are showing me there. My next mode, this is where it shows me the sunrise and sunset times for where I am. Now, right now, since the watch has not yet acknowledged that it should be showing daylight saving time, it's showing me the sunrise and sunset times as though we were not using daylight saving time right now. That's going to correct itself as soon as it's able to get the atomic time information, which is probably tonight. But the only thing I don't like about this display here is they've got sunset on top and sunrise on the bottom. Normally, if I were making a list, I would list sunrise first and sunset second, but that's how it is on here. So, and now that's showing me for today's date. You see right there, March 16th, but I could scroll ahead using this forward button and go to another date. Like I say, well, what's the sunrise and sunset going to be on April 1st? And it shows me, how that's going to be different, okay? Or I could go back. So that's kind of a fun thing if you wanted to play around with this. You could set your latitude and longitude to any place in the world you want to try, and then you could scroll around and get a different date, and it would show you the sunrise and sunset times in that place on that date. So it's kind of fun. Okay, next mode is recall. Now, you have the ability to store information, either, the main timekeeping screen, you can store that. You can also store information from the triple sensor. If you, hiking somewhere and you want to kind of take a note of what is the altitude here, for example, you can store that information, and this is where you would recall that. And there are several screens available for storing and recalling information that the watch is displaying. I won't go too deep into the details on that one right now, but obviously this is a brand new watch and nothing has been stored yet, but that's where you would recall that. Here is where the watch reports to you the last time it was able to receive atomic time information. What it's showing me right now is that this happened on March 16th at 2:22 in the morning. That was the last time it was able to receive its atomic time information. And since it was set to Tokyo, and this thing came like overnight FedEx, right? So this actually happened in Japan, that it was able to receive the atomic time information and set itself. That's why here we are just, a few hours later, and it's still showing the correct time, basically. But as soon as it's able to set itself to the correct time using our WWVB information, it'll update this and show me that it has received, here where I am. Now, if I were to, when it's showing me this right here, hold the adjust button for just a couple seconds. This is telling me the reception, the radio control reception, is set to automatically be on. I could turn that off. If for some reason I thought, well, it's never going to work anyway, I don't want to drain the battery, I'll just leave that function turned off. This is where I could do it. Or if there's some reason where, let's say I just said, I want my watch to be always 5 minutes fast, and then I'll turn off the atomic time reception. I don't know why you would want to do that, but this is where you could do that. Well, I'm going to leave it turned on, stop that from blinking. Also, when it's showing me this right here, I could initialize a manual reception, even though it's going to try to set itself starting at midnight anyway. If I wanted it to try right now, I could press and hold the forward button, and see this is where it's going to try to receive WWVB, because here I am, in the Denver time zone. So it's showing me the local time right there, and it's probably not going to be successful setting itself right now. Radio reception for this particular type of radio transmission, the reception is best at night, just atmospheric conditions and whatever. Also, if you've got electronic things nearby, like I've got a camera and I've got some lights and I've got a monitor nearby, those could also interfere with reception. So right now it's showing L1 for level 1 reception, and then it gave up. It said, oh, there's too much interference right now. I can't do it. So normally, if I were to, I'm going to just initialize this one more time. Normally, I would look for that L1 reception. I would want it to go up to level 3. Level 3 is the best reception. So if occasionally it goes to L1 or L2, and if I wait long enough, maybe it'll get up to L3 if I'm in a good place without a lot of radio interference. And if it's able to stabilize at L3 long enough to process the information it's receiving, then it will be set to the exact correct time. Right now, again, it's not going to do that because there are too many things running nearby where I am that are interfering with that. But, just take my word for it. It will work. Obviously, it worked just a few hours ago in Japan, but right now, getting an error. Okay, the next mode here, the next mode is just back to the regular timekeeping mode. So those are some of the great things this watch can do. And I haven't even shown you the triple sensor that everyone loves so well. So let's take a look at this triple sensor here. There's the button for the triple sensor. If I push this, first thing it's going to want to show me is the altitude. And I haven't calibrated this yet. So you can calibrate this. It's a barometric altimeter. So it's actually reacting to the air pressure to show you the altitude as that altitude might go up or down. Best to calibrate this to the right setting before you go, say, on a hike. And then at the beginning of your hike, you've got it set to the exact right altitude. And then as you go, either up or down in altitude, it will give you the updated information there. It's got some other things like up here to show you, how your altitude may be changing and how often it's taking a reading. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I could spend a long time explaining it all, but let me just stop there for just a moment and go to the next mode in this sensor. Here's your compass. Okay, and again, this is not ideal conditions. It's a magnetic compass. So if I were to aim it this way, it's basically that's the top of the watch right now where I'm oriented is aimed northward, and that's why this reading in degrees is pretty much close to 359 or 0 or 1. And if I were to turn this around, it should show somewhere about 180 degrees if I hold it this way. Okay, so you can see how that will react to your movement. A magnetic compass is one of the sensors in there. And then the next sensor here, this is your barometer. So this needs to be set. And the best way to do this is I could consult with a local weather station if I look up and see where the nearest weather station is giving me an accurate barometric pressure report. Maybe the local TV news meteorologist will give you that, or maybe there's an airport nearby and you can look at their website or somehow maybe call a phone number and just get some automated weather information from a local airport. They should have a pretty good barometric pressure reading. So if I go in here and I push the adjust button, and let's see, I'm going to skip, not temperature right now. I'm going to skip down here to increase this because my actual barometric pressure here is going to be closer to, 29 something. So, I'll look it up for sure and get a nice accurate reading on there, but that's where I can calibrate that. And then after I calibrate this, I can go back and calibrate the altimeter. And also there's the thermometer. And you can change this. You can calibrate this if you want to. I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's probably been picking up some of the heat from my hands, and that's why it says 84 degrees. It's not really that warm here in this room, but that's something to keep in mind. If you want the most accurate reading of the temperature where you are, not affected by your body heat, you should take the watch off for about 5 minutes and then take a temperature reading where you want that reading to be. But you could calibrate that if you think it's a little bit off. So I'm going to stop that from blinking. And then, again, if I push this, now I would go into the altimeter. I would set that to something closer to the actual elevation where I am. And again, you could just keep scrolling through those. And there are ways to save this information for that recall screen I showed you earlier. But if I want to get out of all of these sensors here, I just press the mode button and I'm back to the normal timekeeping mode. Some people like to call this an ABC sensor because it's altitude, barometric pressure, and compass, A, B, and C. But actually, the sensor is using this barometric pressure for both the altitude and the barometer reading that it shows you. So when they say ABC sensor, you're kind of ignoring the thermometer there. You really should call this a TBC sensor: thermometer, barometric pressure, and compass, because the barometric pressure is what gives you the altimeter reading. Okay, just being a little bit precise on the verbiage there. All right, so obviously there's more I can tell you about. I'm gonna call it right now because this is a long enough video already. Just again, it's a nice backlight here. I enjoy the backlight on this, and there is a way to make the backlight come on automatically. So here's what you do. If I press and hold, this is the light button right here below the kind of 6 o'clock position on the face. If I press and hold that for a couple seconds, you could see LT just appeared right there, meaning the automatic backlight is enabled. And if I want that to turn off, I just hold that button down again. What the automatic backlight does is it utilizes a sensor that's inside the watch, so that when you lift the watch up like that to look at it, that will automatically activate the automatic backlight. So just, that move right there will turn it on, and that backlight will stay on for either 1.5 or 3 seconds, depending on the duration that you selected elsewhere. So if you've got automatic backlight enabled right now, it's not turning itself on because the solar cell works as a light sensor. And the solar cell says, hey, it's too light here. Don't turn on the backlight right now. You don't need to. There's plenty of light. But if this were in the dark and I did that same move, then the sensor from the solar cell would say, yep, it's dark. You better turn on that backlight. So if I were to wear this watch and I got a jacket on or gloves or something that covers the face of the watch, and I'm moving my wrist around like this, then that light's going to keep coming on, over and over and over again, which may be annoying if I see it, and may just drain the battery unnecessarily. So think about that before you activate the automatic backlight. Otherwise, don't worry about it, because it's solar powered and you're not going to drain the battery that much anyway with that fancy automatic backlight. And this is basically what that backlight looks like. So think about that, if you will. Again, it looks a little bit more blue to the camera than it does to my eyes. So think of this light looking a little more white, a little more pure than this. That's what you're going to see when you use the backlight on this watch. Plenty of extra space here on the watch band. So, and I took the little protective plastic off the keeper there, and you see that's what that looks like without the plastic on it. So my wrist is about 7.5 inches. It's a big watch. It's kind of a bulky watch, that's for sure, but it's a pretty good balance on me. Not bad at all. Just got that G-Shock toughness. I really like that, but compared to one of these G-Shock squares, it's bigger, bulkier. Yeah, for sure. Let's do an official weigh-in, compare this to some of my other watches. So 92 grams. How does that compare to this one without the carbon fiber? Where do we go? 93. So pretty much the same with or without carbon fiber. Okay. Compare that to, say, just a standard G-Shock square, 52. Compare that to this G-Shock square with carbon fiber, 45. Compare that to this analog G-Shock square, 55. So, again, on the bulkier side, but not as heavy as this full metal stock G-Shock square. Look at that guy. All right, so pretty good, and a pretty good balance for the size of the watch. So there you go. Choose your favorite flavor of G-Shock Rangeman. You can get this one for, again, just a little more than $200. You can get this one here, the full Japanese version, for a little bit more than $400. You can go right in the middle and get one that looks like this with a watch band that looks more like this. So your choice, or if you really, really love the other ones, you can pay even more money and go searching for some of those other amazing, nifty color combinations for your favorite G-Shock Rangeman. Great watch, tough, looks great, does so many great things. So if this is what you're after, that's all I want to do, is help you figure out what you're after, so you can go for it. Anyway, that's all for now, and I've got obviously more videos coming up. Always more videos that I'd love to make. So I hope you'll come back and watch them right here on the Good Timekeeping Show.